before some of these newbies started getting into sports radio and sports media, there was a phenomenon that took place on the sports talk radio airwaves and on sports talk television. And that phenomenon was known as Tebow time. Right, so Tim
he was
Tebow,
kneeling at football games. Isn't that interesting? Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was great. Yeah, it was great. So Tim Tebow has been gone for quite some time. Now, he tried to make it as a baseball player. He was with the New York Mets, and it just did not work out. It fizzled out. And then you started to hear some rumors or rumblings about a week and a half ago that potentially the Jacksonville Jaguars might look at him and potentially bring him on. And then the news was confirmed earlier today. Tom Pelissero of NFL Network was the first that I saw that reported it, that Tim Tebow is coming back. Tebow time is back, but he will be back as a tight end for the Jacksonville Jaguars. He's going to try and make the roster, obviously reunited with his former college coach, Urban Meyer, and I know you were thrilled to know that Tebow time was upon us yet again.
This is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. I've never seen so many people bend over backwards for a guy. I don't get it. I don't understand it. He got a baseball roster spot he didn't deserve, hadn't played baseball in a decade. People like him, so they just do whatever they can, and it's mind-boggling. He's 33 years old. He was in the NFL. It wasn't like he had a cup of coffee and a sweet roll. He was in the league for a couple of years. You know what? He was no good at quarterback. Back then, Jonas, people said, why don't you try out for tight end or play tight end? Because you can't throw the football. You know what he said? He wasn't interested in that. He said he was a quarterback, right? Am I right or wrong?
100%.
All right. So now he wants to play tight end, a position he never, N-E-V-E-R, never played in high school, never played in college, and never took a snap in his previous 3 years in the NFL. This is all about Urban Meyer, who coached him at Florida and won a national championship, and they're buds and they're friends and all that. It is the worst thing you can do is do this when you start opening the doors for friends and family. The NFL is one of the worst sports leagues ever because there's nepotism everywhere. Jonas, you know I'm right.
I've always said the best gig in the world is being an NFL coach because you'll have a job for life because you end up on somebody's staff somewhere all the time.
Yes, that's all they do is take care of each other and keep hiring them, no matter how poorly or whatever happens. And this is another situation. I don't get it. Really, Urban Meyer, why? And then everybody says, well, you don't understand. He knows him. He was his coach, and there's no big deal to give anybody a tryout. Was Urban Meyer was a coach for 25 or 30 years in college, right?
Yeah.
Tim Tebow's the only player who ever played for him? What about all the other kids who actually played tight end who never got an opportunity in the NFL?
Yeah. Well,
you think they're getting tryouts, Jonas? Are they trying out at the Jaguars facility?
No,
all those other guys?
No, and and I was because Aaron Hernandez was, but that's not going to happen. So listen, I hear you. There's this is Urban's guy, and he's going to come back and he's going to play tight end. I don't understand. Why is it a bad thing? Let me just ask you, why is it a bad thing that Tim Tebow comes back to play football for the Jaguars? What's bad about it that bothers you the most about the idea?
There are other people who have actually played the position who would love an opportunity, and there's not one for them. I brought up I brought up earlier in the historically black colleges. Deion Sanders went on a rant about this. Not one kid from that football. The black colleges and universities in this country got drafted in the NFL. Not one single kid, okay? And you mean to tell me there aren't other people who have played the position who would love an opportunity? That's what I'm talking about, Jonas. It's not that if you told me he was going to be a third-string quarterback and hold the clipboard and probably would hang around for the next 4 years and just hold the clipboard and go to practice every day, could I buy that? Yes, I could buy that. But to play tight end and take a position from somebody who's actually put in the work, the time and the energy, this guy just said he wanted to play baseball for all those years. He quit baseball and said he had other calling. There was something else that was calling him, and it didn't sound like football. That's my issue. Why? If you can just name me one other, Jonas, give me one other black player who played for Urban Meyer, who's been out of football since 2015, who had little to no success when he was in the NFL, and he got a tryout. If you give me 1, 2, 3, 4 other guys, and they all got the same opportunity, I would be cool with it. But I don't think that's the case.
Yeah, no, and that's fine. And look, it is a relationship business. The NFL's always been that way. It's about who you know. You can go through why do they always bring up these coaching trees? Because these coaching trees are always there, and somebody knew somebody, and somebody was on somebody's staff. Like, you can go all the way back to Belichick's coaching staff with the Browns. Everybody from Nick Saban to Kirk Ferentz to all these guys that were on the same staff, Scott Pioli, a lot of these other guys, Mike Lombardi, and they all kind of run, and it's like a web. Like, it's about who you know, and it's a relationship business. That's why when Urban Meyer makes a decision to bring Tim Tebow in, A, I'm not surprised, and B, I'm not that upset about it.
Can I give you the difference?
Kick the tires. He wants to kick the tires on it. Yes.
Because if you have black coaches doing that, they would be called into question. Like, this guy hasn't played. What in the world? Why would you be doing this? And that's why I have an issue with it. You talk about the relationships. Name me the last time a black coach hired an all-black staff and all of his friends and family were a part of the organization. If you can give me that, then I would buy into it. If there's a black coach, there's no way, Jonas, that he wouldn't even think about doing such a thing, because people would hold that to him, that he's hiring family members and nepotism. And this guy, let me hire my Uncle Bubba, who's never been a football coach. He's going to be my defensive coordinator. How would that go over? I'm just asking you.
How'd you know my uncle's name was Bubba? What the hell's wrong with you? Stop looking at my Wikipedia. But here's where I think.
No, I want you to just respond to that.
Okay.
What am I saying? Is that crazy?
Okay.
Or am I speaking the truth?
Do you think Urban Meyer signing Tim Tebow is a race thing or a relationship thing?
I think of course he has a relationship with them, but my point is I don't think he would do that for just any old body. And if you had examples of black guys in the same situation who flamed out in the NFL, who could, I don't know any examples. You would have to give me other examples, and I just don't believe in the whole idea that you having a relationship is good enough, because I'm just telling you, I don't think black coaches have the same leeway. And if they brought a guy in off the street who had never played the position, Rod Marinelli got hired as Lions head coach. Rod Marinelli never coached in the high school level head coach, was never a head high school coach or a head college coach. Never.
So, okay, were you upset when Logan Thomas was turned into a tight end after being a quarterback in college? Because he was a quarterback at Virginia Tech, and now he's a tight end in the NFL. Did you say anything about him getting a job over somebody else that had been playing tight end longer than him? Or was it based on
some of that stuff, and that used to go on too. I mean, if we go into the history of it, a lot of that was racist. They didn't want a black quarterback, so they tried to force guys to play other positions. They were forced.
Yeah, but I don't know that was the situation with Logan Thomas. I just think they looked at a guy and said, "Hey, man, this might work." And guess what? He had a damn good year last year for Washington.
Did Tim Tebow play? What did he do last? Was he playing football last year?
No, he was playing.
How about the year before?
No, I agree with you. But I don't think this is a race thing. I think this is a relationship thing. I think he's got a relationship with Urban Meyer, and this. I think the bigger issue that I might have is the close-knit circle of friends in the NFL that just seem to always come back around. Like, it's really hard to not find a job if you're a coach in the NFL, because
if you're black. If you're black. No, Jonas, and I'm gonna call it like I see it. Unless you're black and you can't get another gig. This is what I'm talking about. Okay, you're right. You're right, but most of those guys who keep on the treadmill and keep getting hired, they're white. They're not black. That's the problem. And that's the issue in the league.
Okay, but is that just because of black-white, or is that a numbers thing to where there are more white coaches in the NFL than there are black coaches, which goes to a different conversation of what about just entry into the league, the hiring process into the league? Is it where everybody wants it to be as far as getting more black coaches or minority coaches into the NFL? Probably not, but I do think they've made efforts and strides. Now, I think the Rooney Rule. I personally, it's insulting.
Of course, there you go, and that's you were just saying that, and I was going to say the Rooney Rule. It tells you how deep rooted the problem is, and that's why I have an issue with it. If you can give, I just have a problem with it because I don't think black coaches would do it because they would be scrutinized for it. Oh, he's hooking up his nephew who was this. Can you imagine a black coach taking his nephew who played some other position and gave him a tryout and gave him a contract to play some other position he's never played? I just couldn't imagine it. That's what I'm saying to you.
Yeah. No, listen, I do think that when it comes to the close-knit community that is the NFL, it feels like it happens in that league more so than – look, in the NBA, you don't need any coaching experience and you're going to get a job. All you have to do is be a good player and you're going to get a job, whether it be a Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, whether it's Steve Nash. All you have to do is just be a good player at some point during your career. Luke Walton, who was an okay player from time to time. You could just get a job. In the NFL, it feels like once you're in it, the hardest part is getting a foot in the door. And once you get that foot in the door, then things start to open up for you. This thing with Tim Tebow, though, that feels more like this is about his past with Urban Meyer. I also think this. Look, Tebow was too good to play tight end. Let's just call it what it was. He still saw himself as a quarterback, and I've talked multiple teammates of Tim Tebow's who have told me, and a guy that I had on my weekend overnight show, which I know you always say you never have missed it, right? You never missed my show.
I never missed that show.
Yeah, why is that?
I never listened to it, so I never missed it.
So you would have known that we had a guy who was a former teammate of Tim Tebow on who said, and I quote, and this is somebody who played in the NFL for 7 years and played Division I college football, and I quote, Tim Tebow was the worst quarterback I ever played with. And not even close. The worst quarterback I ever played with. And he still saw himself as a quarterback. And I wonder if he looks around and says, all right, well, I don't have much time left, so let me knock on a couple of doors. And Urban Meyer's like, I'll give you a shot. I don't think he's going to make the team. I don't think Tebow's making the team. But the fact that he's here, I think, is more of the relationship
let's
thing
bet
with
10, I'll bet you 10 wings he made. They will do whatever it takes
Okay.
for him to be on the team.
Let me tell you something. Last time we did this,
I guarantee you that.
All right, last time we did this, you bet that Sam Darnold would throw a touchdown on his opening drive in the NFL, and he threw.
He
a pick
did.
Six. Yeah,
I should have won.
Six. Yeah, my ass. You pick six. You found a loophole,
Was it
and
a
you still haven't
touchdown?
paid me back. Still haven't paid me back.
It was a touchdown. I told you it would be a touchdown his first pass.
It was to the
It
wrong
was for the other team, but it was a touchdown.
Pick six. Why is Tim Tebow back in the NFL? Is it a relationship thing? Is it a race thing? Do you agree with Rob Parker that this is a joke, that he's getting opportunities that others are not getting? 877-99 on Fox. And I know you felt very strongly about this when the news came out.
I just keep seeing it happening over and over, and I just don't see the same opportunities for everybody. And that's all I'm talking about, equality. I'm not talking about anybody getting a leg up on anybody. I don't care what the numbers are. Do the same thing for everybody else. I'm sure there's a tight end, some guy who played in college, who played tight end, actually had some success. Things didn't work out, who would love an opportunity. I just think it's wrong. I think it's wrong. I think that when the Mets gave him a roster spot, I thought that was wrong. All the players who tried their best to make it and get an opportunity to play in the minor leagues, and this guy shows up, hadn't played ball in a year, in 10 years, and they give him a roster spot. I think there's something wrong with that.
Well, and the thing with the look,
and he had no relationship with anybody with the Mets, so I don't.
No,
That's
well,
that.
Mets,
now, what was that? What would you call that, Jonas?
That was a ticket thing. You know what that was.
But what tickets are they selling?
Okay, but that was a minor league. We want to generate some buzz. That was get somebody in the ballpark. Man, you go to a minor league game, they do crap like that all the time. They bring out a guy in a unicycle and he makes snow globes out of dog crap. They do weird stuff. They do weird stuff like that at minor league games. because they're trying to generate any sort of publicity, and Tebow was a publicity stunt. This thing, though, seems like Urban Meyer is like, all right, let me throw my guy a bone and see if we can make this thing work as a tight end. That's what it feels like to me.
Tim in Wichita, Kansas. Is this Tim Tebow? Tim, you're on the Odd Couple, Fox Sports Radio. What you got?
Hey, not Tim Tebow. How's it going, fellas?
Doing
What's
good.
happening?
Yeah, I kind of disagree with the popular sentiment because I've heard that all day, what you guys are basically saying on the local radio shows and then on the national shows. But, I look at someone like Blake Bell. He was a quarterback right here in Wichita in high school. Then he goes to Oklahoma, plays quarterback. Then they move him to tight end, and he's, had a roster spot ever since. I think a lot of it's just being a good athlete, in being able to use them in different packages, maybe even in pass protection, stuff like that. Antonio Gates basically played basketball his whole life, and then San Diego Chargers turned him into an all-world tight end. And I think
wait a minute, Tim, was it at 33? Was it at 33 after he hadn't been in the league for 8 years?
But you look at someone
No,
like
I'm asking you. No,
Brandon
it's not the
Whedon.
same. It's not the same as a.
Of course it's not the same. Every situation's going to be different, but that doesn't mean he's still not a good athlete. I mean,
at 33 years old, no other team extended him an invitation. Not one other who thought the same thing. Oh, Tim Tebow, he's failing at baseball. Let's get him a deal.
Yeah.
The Jacksonville Jaguars had a chance to sign him as a quarterback to sell tickets. Yeah. And guess what? They passed.
Yeah.
He can't play.
And thank God for Urban Meyer because Tim Tebow's finally getting an opportunity. He's been getting the short end of the stick his whole career. He's
Absolutely.
He's finally getting an opportunity. I'm happy.
Bill Belichick even took a flyer on him. He was with the Jets. He didn't play one down. He couldn't play. I'm sorry.
I'm telling you, man, multiple people I talked to said worst quarterback. And here's the thing. The Tebow fan base is passionate as all hell because if you come after their guy, they unload. Nobody can figure out what that year was in Denver. Nobody can figure out how he did it, how they were able to do it, but he had that one thing, and in the words of Shawshank, awed off and vanished like a fart in the wind. He was gone, absolutely gone after that, but now he's back, Rob Parker, and he's finally getting his opportunity, and bravo, he deserves it. About time he got a chance in the world of athletics.
And what was it? Logan Thomas, is that what the guy was?
Yeah, Logan Thomas.
Yeah, I mean, you can't put those two guys in the same sentence.
I'm just saying that was a guy that played quarterback in college, and they turned him into a tight end. I didn't hear anybody say,
one guy's 6'6". I'm just saying it's totally different. It is not a guy who's been on the shelf for all these years who haven't been playing football.
All I'm saying is that I didn't hear anybody outraged when Logan Thomas got a spot that somebody else may have deserved because they had been playing the position longer. And the HBCU stuff that people are throwing out there, I mean, do you want to do you want to be truthful about it? Like COVID and the season getting pushed back had a lot to do with players not getting drafted. And it's not just a black-white thing. That's just a reality of what COVID
Some of the
and
greatest players who ever played in the NFL came from HBCUs.
Agreed,
I'm just saying.
This year was different. Less.
It didn't stop them from drafting kids from other schools.
Okay,
all I'm saying is it didn't. Not one. I think Deion's right. Not one. There wasn't some special kid with some special ability. That's what scouts are supposed to do. They comb the situation. They find a diamond in the rough. They find a Jerry Rice at a smaller black school, and he turns into the greatest receiver. That's lazy, Jonas.
Yeah, okay,
it's lazy.
Rob, less HBCU players were drafted this year. They hadn't been this low at getting into the NFL since 1993. Why do you think that was? Why all of a sudden this year? Their season got pushed back, man. James Madison, there were teams just playing last weekend. Like Deion Sanders was playing in March. Like this idea that it's just only a race component. It's not, man. There's other things
I didn't
that
say
are
it was
involved here.
only. I did not say it was only, but that's a big part of the equation. Let's go to Keith in Jacksonville. It's a part of our lives in this world we live in. I just cannot close my eyes to it and act like we're all on equal playing field. We're not. And sports is supposed to be the ultimate equal playing field. And, Jonas, that's why the country's 75% white, but the NFL 75% black, because it's an equal playing field, and you give people the opportunity to play. And that's what it's supposed to be. The reason the league is black is not because the owners like black players. It's because they've played better. They've excelled better, so they get the opportunities. That's all I'm talking about. Equal playing field, giving everybody the same opportunity. I don't feel that that's always the case.
Well, hey, listen, black colleges, white coaches, and yellow sugar packets. I mean, we have really run the gamut here, Rob Parker. There's all sorts of stuff on this show.
This is what you get on The Odd Couple. If you want vanilla, turn the station.